What is good, guys? As you know, I lost my license, and this means it's the perfect opportunity for me to get all those jobs and things that I wanted to do on the car, maintenance and just fixing things, that I was like, you know what, I can't be stuffed doing that because all I want to do is get in and drive. So we're going to be doing some fiberglassing today because that's the #1 thing I kind of like hate the most. But let me show you what we're going to do. So this rear bar, I've got some tape there holding the pod on. All that needs is a zip tie. But on this side here, all the fiberglass tabs here that bolt into the bolts there, they all got torn off. So we've got to re-fiberglass those on there so that that can go on there. We can get rid of that tape. Then while I've got the fiberglass out, I actually wanted to have a crack at making like a fiberglass air enclosure kind of air box thing. And the whole, you know, my thought process behind this is I want to try and keep my IATs a little bit lower. And I think it's a good idea if we can block this off here and put a cover over that, it's only going to like relatively suck only cold air from outside, because right under there, it's a really big hole for where the old intercooler stuff used to be. So if it gets it through there and through the front, like through the gaps and stuff in the headlight and the bonnet and a few other holes and stuff in the fender, I think it'll be getting, you know, a lot colder air. And the main reason for that is obviously, you know, you got hot air and stuff coming off the exhaust manifold, the engine and whatnot. And then the second part to getting colder IATs is going to be to heat, you know, get some heat shielding wrap and wrap this cold side pipe that comes across here, which we'll do in a future video once the stuff I've ordered arrives. But yeah, I've never done anything like that, so it's probably going to end up with a big fail. But nonetheless, I still want to give it a crack and see if we can somehow just wing it and make it work. So let's get to it. Step 1, peel off the tape that you put on there at the drift event months ago. Well, it wasn't months ago, I think it was more weeks ago. This is a special tape as well that's designed to not, like, you know, damage and pull things off. And hopefully it does its job like it's advertised. So we should be good to just slide this bumper off now. Oh yeah, there you go. This is much easier than I was anticipating. Sweet. So I was able to find the missing piece for this piece that goes to the side of the bumper down here. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to use some super glue temporarily to just hold this piece in the correct position on this piece while I'm fiberglassing this piece in, so that then, you know, the super glue will hold it there until the fiberglass sets. And I just think that, like, I like to do that sometimes when I'm fiberglassing little pieces and stuff like that, because it's hard to get it to stay in place while you're waiting for the fiberglass to set, because when it's all wet and stuff, it can actually like move and whatnot. At least that's what I find in my experience. So I just use a bit of super glue to hold all the little pieces together until the rest of the resin and everything else about the fiberglass sets. So anyways, I'm going to get started on that. So I'll glue these two first and I'll put this aside. And then I'm going to start prepping this whole area here. I've got the flappy disc on the grinder, I've got some sandpaper, and then we'll brake clean it and stuff, and pretty much by then the super glue will be more than enough for me to put this piece in here, and then we can start fiberglassing her up. So this terrible looking mess here is probably not the best fiberglass job I've ever done in my life, but it's going to be really solid and strong. Put another sheet there to just hold that cracked piece on, and I put another sheet behind that little crack there as well. It's going to probably turn out pretty good, all things considered. My first batch of fiberglass, I actually put too much of the setting agent in by accident, and it set so fast that it just kind of heated up super fast and turned into this big glob of jelly, and I just poured it out on this concrete here, and it solidified to this. I think it's kind of cool, like being able to just look at fully set resin like this. I don't know, something kind of like, I don't know, satisfying about it, just looking at it. It's kind of cool. Anyways, I was going to make this air box, but today was actually the bin day for all cardboard, and May this morning, because I slept in, took all the cardboard out and it got picked up and it's all gone. So I don't have any cardboard to make a template with. So I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'll go to the hardware store and I'll get like a meter by meter sheet of core flue, which is that plastic kind of core flue thing that people make like signs out of and stuff. And what I'll do is I'll use that as my template, because that'll be much easier to fiberglass on top of than cardboard. Because if you want to fiberglass on top of cardboard, before you can do that, the cardboard would actually like absorb the resin, right? And then you can't really use that. So what you do is you put duct tape over the cardboard, so that then you fiberglass on top of that, so the cardboard doesn't get soggy and stuff. But anyways, I think what I'm going to actually do is I found out the other day that my tail lights aren't working, and neither is like the light that lights up my number plate. But the front tail lights are working totally fine. Well, they're not really tail lights in the front, it's parker lights, I guess. So yeah, the parker lights are on now. You can see in the front, have a look here, they're working. This bulb here needs replacing, I know that much. But yeah, my rears don't work at all. Nothing. And nothing for the number plate light either. And I went through and I checked all the plugs, nothing seems wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the bulbs out, use a multimeter and just check for voltage. Because I imagine if the parking, like if the parker's lights, we'll just turn that off for a sec. If it blew a fuse, you'd think all of them would stop working, right? Anyways, we might just have a quick look at this and see if there is a blown fuse, but I'll also get the multimeter out so we can check, see what's going on there, if there's voltage at the back there and it's blown bulbs. So I just checked all the fuses in this compartment and there's nothing there for tail lamp. So I went and checked the engine bay and they do have one here for tail lamp, which is this 10 amp here. So let's take a quick look and see if this one's blown. No, it looks like that fuse is totally intact. So yeah, we'll have to go to the multimeter and see if we have voltage up the back there, because I mean, it's pretty rare that like, what is that, like 1, 2, 3 bulbs are blown? It's kind of weird. All right, we'll double check there and see what's going on. So for whatever reason, I just checked, we're not getting any voltage to the parker lights at all. The bulbs are all fine, none of the elements are broken. So now I'm starting to think that maybe I accidentally, when I was taking the seat out, unplugged something up in there and never plugged it back in. So I'm just gonna go double check that everything's plugged in to the loom there. Maybe there's also something like, and that section there, I don't know, this is very bizarre, but I do know that there's another bunch of fuses there, but I don't think any of those are for parker lights. It's just weird that we're not getting any voltage at the rear here, so I'm just assuming something's unplugged along this loom here, and the last time I was anywhere close to that stuff was when I was taking the seats out and changing the coilovers, so I'll double check that. So I may have found my issue, and this is actually kind of interesting. So if I plug this tail light in here, we're going to get a short to ground, because I've got this connected to just the ground here, and then this probe is connected to the tail light wire. Watch what happens when I plug this in. It starts beeping. We got a massive short to ground happening somewhere in here. So the only 2 wires that are tail lights here are going to these 2 bulbs here. So something's happened in these 2 bulbs. So we're going to pull them out and just like visually inspect them and see if there's anything that's, you know, obvious that's causing them to short. I don't see any issues with the filaments or anything like that. So that's a bit weird. So what I'll do is I'll take the bulbs out and just kind of see what's going on, because the only places like where that could be shorting is literally like the only 2 wires go to these 2 bulbs. They don't go anywhere else. So yeah, I'll dive into this a little bit more, see if there's anything kind of happening like once I take these bulbs out. But I'm assuming that one of these is like completely shorted out somehow and is causing a short to ground. Which is yeah, I would not have found it without using the multimeter, that's for sure. So let's just see now that I've taken both of these bulbs out. Oh wow, I don't know if you guys can see this. This one's like hella melted on the base there. It doesn't, yeah. This one could be the issue. All right, let's put that one there and let's plug this in now, see if it still shorts to ground. No, we got no short to ground now. It's not beeping anymore. So let's go and put 1 bulb in at a time. Hang on, let me sit you guys down. Cool, so let's put this bulb in. Okay, is it this bulb? Not the other one? Are both bulbs stuffed? That can't be right. Really? No, that's fine. Wait, did someone just put the bulb in the wrong way when they fixed my car? Oh, that'll annoy me so much. No, okay. Yeah, this bulb, the one that I looked at that looked hella melted, is the culprit for sure. Okay, yeah, so that bulb's stuffed. Now let me just double check that it's definitely the bulb and not the socket. Put this bulb in this one. Wrong way, this way. No problem. Okay, so it is the bulb. The bulb's melted internally and shorted to ground. There you go. Now, if I plug everything in and we just leave that bulb out, see, that's kind of weird. I would have thought that if there was a short to ground, it would have blown a fuse, right? I guess not. All right, so now, if that's all connected like that, I should see when I turn the tail lights on, I should see these light up, which I don't, still. Oh boy. There's still something else going on here. I just found the relay that looks after all of the tail lights for the rear and the front, and I traced the wire. See that little red and blue wire there? That's the rear, and that is probably going to have issues when you've got that much amount of corrosion in there. So I'm going to try and clean out all the corrosion. Hopefully this relay's still good. Put it all back together, and hopefully that's issue fixed. If not, I might have to try and get a new relay, and I also need to check the continuity between here and the back, which means I'll probably have to get a long wire out to go from the back in here and just make sure there's no issue between here and there, and that there's the only issue is that this relay is not passing voltage to that. So I'll get started on that and put the camera down. We'll pick it up from there once I've cleaned this and we've worked out what's going on. I cleaned the relay and there's no change. I also checked all the points and stuff like that, and it's doing everything that it should be. But when I did a continuity check between there and here, we've definitely got some breakage or something. They're not checking out. So something's wrong between here and here. So I'm going to trace the wire. I'm assuming that I've just unplugged something when I did my coilovers in the back corner here, because there's a big plug there that connects everything. So we're going to climb in the back and triple check all of that. Maybe it's just depinned itself and fallen out. I don't know. But yeah, I'll climb in there and we'll figure it out. Well, I'm in the back of the car now and I found the issue. In fact, I'm kind of stumped. My harness was sitting there like that, and I was like just looking to see if there's any plugs or anything unplugged, and I followed the wire, right? And I pulled this back, and then I found these two wires just sticking out like that. And yeah, it's gotten caught on something, and it's just been ripped in half. I have no freaking idea how that happened. Like, something actually dug in there, like, and cut the sheath, like the shield there, the plastic cover, and pulled that wire out to the point where it just tore in two. I have no idea. Like, the only thing that's been here are tires and wheels. And even then, there's been a tarp on top of it. So, like, none of that could have catched on it. I'm really stumped as to what did this, because, like, it specifically cut into this and pulled that one wire out. So, and that's the wire. Like, I tested it with continuity with the multimeter, and that's it. So, like, it almost looks like someone, like, I don't think someone did this. I think something's caught on it, like maybe my seat when I pulled it out and I never saw it. But even then, like, it's dug in and cut open that, and it just looks like someone humanly did it, you know what I mean? How weird is that? Like, I don't think, like, no one's, like, you can't sabotage me by doing that, but, like, how freaking weird is that? Alright, well, at least I found it, so I'm gonna get my tools, I'm gonna crimp the two together, and then tape it back up. But I'm hella stumped, like, how? Why? Anyways, at least we found the issue. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but I repaired the wire and also taped up all the sheathing there so that it's not exposed anymore. Moment of truth, let's turn the tails on. Oh yeah, I can kind of see the glow from the back. Yep, we got tails again. Obviously on this side we've only got one though, because of this bad bulb, so we're gonna get that replaced. You can actually see now that the filament's like completely stuffed in there, so probably explains why it's shorting the ground. So I'll order a couple of those off Amazon. But we have tail lights again. Wait, do I have a number plate light again? Yep, we sure do. Man, how weird is that? So bizarre. Obviously it got caught on something and just ripped it out, but yeah, I have no idea what, or if, I very highly doubt anyone sabotaged it and did that, because it doesn't really make sense because my brake light still worked. Yeah, it was just my tails. So there you go. And then, At the same time, I do have some more of these bulbs, so I'm going to quickly pull the bulb out in there, and I'll replace that LED light as well while I've got everything open like this. And I might just go quickly check on the rear bar, see how the fiberglass is going. So the fiberglass is all set, it's rock hard. It should be good to hit with the flappy disc now. And what I'm going to do is just take off all the extra excess along the edges here with the flappy disc. And then what I'll do is I'm not going to fit it or like sandbag this section or anything, because it's actually starting to get pretty dark. Sun setting and whatnot, as you can see out there. So yeah, I'll just clean up these edges, and then it'll be ready for me to put back together and kind of drill out these holes and get the mounts in there ready for tomorrow. But it's looking really good. It's definitely a lot better than it was, and yeah, pretty keen to get this on there without green tape, that's for sure. Also, I found the piece of mesh that's been missing off the exhaust side of the rear bar. So see how I have it there, but I don't have it here. So yeah, found it. So I'll definitely be putting that back on there too. So we might have to go for a little ride to the, actually hang on, I think it's supposed to go this way. Yep, that way. So we might have to go for a little push bike ride tomorrow to the hardware store to get some little screws for that, because they just take like little black screws that go in there and there to hold that on, and it just kind of adds a little bit to it, I guess. I don't know. I want to put it back on though, so we're going to do that. Anyways, cool. So I'm going to clean up the edges here. Okay, so that's much better. As you can see, I trimmed everything on the side here, all back to the same mold and everything how it was when it was bolted on. So all I should have to do tomorrow is re-drill out these holes. We should be good to bolt it on. I also took off down here a bit of like dribbles and drips and stuff that were on there. I'm not too worried about taking off a bit of paint up here because this is all hidden behind the panel, but I do have touch-up paint that's the same color that I can just hit this with if it does, like, you know, if you can see it from the outside of the car. But I don't think you'll be able to. And in all honesty, this I've like been pulling on this a bit to see if it's weak at all. It's super strong, so I think we're going to be good with this repair. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the rear bar. Like I said, all I got to do tomorrow is drill those two holes and it'll bolt back on. So we'll probably pick this up again from tomorrow. It's a moment of truth here. Yeah boy, we got our taillights back in the corner. Just had to replace the bulb the old one had blown. Nice. I'm so happy. Like, it's the little things sometimes, you know what I mean? The only thing we need to do now is wait till we get those new bulbs from Amazon so we can have all four working in the rear. But I'm just glad we got my taillights working and we worked out what that whole issue was. So weird, eh? Anyways, we're pretty much good. It's starting to get super dark now. The sun's like pretty much all gone. Luckily this camera does low light incredibly well. But yeah, another thing I also noticed is that, let me quickly get my flashlight on so you can see. Well, my iPhone anyways. There was a bunch of rubbing happening on my strut bar there, as you can see. And then I noticed, you probably can't tell too well. Here you can. See how that's now sitting higher than what it previously was? So I need to loosen the strut bar and let it sit all the way down, then tighten it. It's just been rubbing on my hood up there. So yeah, another thing that I noticed, which explains that little noise I was kind of hearing it idle. It sounded like a little rattle and I couldn't figure out what it was. So that's probably what it is, just vibrating on the hood. It's funny how like I just like am now finding all these tiny little things that I need to fix that I just previously didn't do at all because all I wanted to do was drive the thing and drift it. Cool. So yeah, slowly but surely making this thing a better car now. more reliable, or like just maintaining it. I don't even know what you would call what I'm doing. I guess just things I should have done ages ago. All right, cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's going to be a super long one, but that's because I want to leave in the video all of the troubleshooting, like procedures and things that I did to work out why my tail lights weren't working in the car. I think that's kind of one thing that I don't really see much of many automotive YouTubers, and I get it because it is like, it's time consuming and it makes your videos super long and kind of not interesting. But I wanted to leave it in the video because I think a lot of people can learn from it and just, you know, do exactly what I did, you know, trial and error, troubleshoot everything, and always use a multimeter, or at worst case a test light. Multimeter is definitely better. They're cheap. You can get them for 20 bucks off Amazon for something semi-decent. So definitely get yourself a good multimeter and then just backtrack everything. And as you finally go through every little step, eventually you figure out where the problem is really quickly compared to just trying random things hoping that it's gonna work. So anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed. We're making the Skyline great again. I can't wait till tomorrow. We're gonna do a whole bunch more cool stuff. I'll see you then. Jamatane.